Om. 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 Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Ramo Rajamanis Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Bihata Nishacharachamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Raman Nasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham. Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhavatu Me Bho Rama Mamuddhara. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam. Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Satgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We were seeing the Shanti mantra of this Upanishad. Vastu Nirdeshatmaka Shanti mantra it is. One that indicates nature of truth as it is. That is called as Vastu Nirdeshatmaka Shanti mantra. Purnam Adaha. Brahma, which is indicated by the word Adaha, is Purna. And what is the meaning of Purna? That which is without Desha, Kala and Vastu Paricheda. That which is not conditioned by space, location. Desha means space or location. Kala means time. Vastu means an object. Desha, Kala, Vastu, Aparichinna, that is called as Purna. So Brahma, which is the origin of creation, that is Purna. Brahman, from which this creation has emerged, that is of this nature. It is eternal. Purnam Idam. This name and form, Jagat, that we see, that is also Purna. Jagat of name and forms, which is indicated by the word Idam, that is also Purna. How can two Purnas be there? Purnat Purnam Udachyate. From this Purna Brahma alone, Purna Jagat has emerged. What were the examples we had seen for this emergence? One was snake and rope, another was Ghatakasha and Mahakasha. Pot space emerging from total space is not a real emergence. Attention on conditioning brought about this notion of pot space. So even though snake appears to have emerged from the rope, they are not two different things. In the same way, even though Jagat emerges from Brahman, they are not two independent entities. That is why both are Purna. Purnat Purnam Udachyate, Purnasya Purnam Adaya. From this Jagat, keep the Brahman part. Da Dhatu means to give. Adaya means to receive or to keep. So in this Jagat, which is having a mixture of Nama Rupa and Brahma, keep only the Brahma part, let go of Nama Rupa. Purnasya Purnam Adaya. Then what happens? Again it is emphasized, Purnam Eva Avashishyate. That Purna Brahma alone remains. Now somebody might ask, why is that last quarter again repeated? Third quarter you already said, Purnasya Purnam Adaya. You take Purna and let go of the Nama Rupa Upadhi, conditionings. Why again emphasize Purnam Eva Vashishyate? That emphasis is to indicate Advaita. If you let go of snake and keep only the rope, you don't end up with two things. Means that snake which you have let go of and the rope which you have kept. Letting go of snake is in the understanding that there is no snake to begin with. What appears is mithya. In that way, when Nama Rupa of Jagat is removed, what remains is Brahma, and falsity of that Nama Rupa is understood. It is not ending up with two things. So to emphasize this Advaita, it is said, Purnam Eva Vashishyate. Don't have any doubts that you will have one Purna and that Apurna Nama Rupa, which you have let go of. We had seen this in Drigdarsha Viveka also. The first step in our Vedantic inquiry is to do Viveka between Druk and Drishya. Correct? Between Druk and Drishya, we do Viveka. What do we say? Whatever is the seen is Drishya. World is Drishya, body is Drishya, thoughts are Drishya. So you separate all of the Drishya from Druk, which is Sakshi, Shuddha Chaitanya. But that is only 50% of Vedanta. The later part is to dissolve that Drishya into Druk. Later part is to understand that this Drishya doesn't have independent existence. It is deriving or borrowing its existence from Chaitanya. And whatever is appearing as borrowed existence is not absolute reality. Same example you can take. First step is to separate that illusory snake from rope. But final step is to say, there is nothing but the rope. That is the culmination of our understanding. Therefore, Purnam Eva Avashishyate. Purnam alone is there. A very beautiful Shanti mantra for Nididhyasanam. First is to appreciate that Idam is also Purna. Means Idam is this whole Jagat, which is Bhagavad Swarupa. From that Jagat, letting go of Nama Rupa, dissolving that Nama Rupa in the substratum, which is Chaitanya. This was the first meaning we had seen. The second meaning, the word of Idam changed. Instead of saying Idam as Jagat, bring it more closer and say Idam refers to Jiva. Now it's not two independent meanings, but it's easier if you look at it differently. Because when you say Jagat, Aham is also included in Jagat. So first meaning includes the second meaning also. But what happens is we are not used to thinking in that way. That this Ahankara, physical body, is also part of Jagat. It is difficult to think in that way. We feel Jagat means starts from outside me. I am this person, Jagat is outside. So scriptures also use these two methods. They say, okay, let us analyze Jagat separately. Let us analyze Jiva separately. So second meaning, the word Idam referred to Jiva. That Brahma is Purna. And Jiva is also Purna. Jiva has emerged from the same Brahman. Now, how will you understand this? Jiva's conditionings have emerged from that same Brahman. Attention is on conditioning. I feel finite. Remove those conditioning. Purnasya Purnam Adaya. Keep the Chaitanya part. And in that Chaitanya, one should revel. Purnam eva avashishyate. Means whenever I think about myself, whenever I think about the world, at least first I should acknowledge there are two things here. Namarupa and consciousness. If they are mixed up, what was the example that was given in Vedanta Sara? Tapta ayaf pindavat. Iron ball and fire, if they mix up, they look as one. Like this, Namarupa and Brahma, they have mixed up and they appear as one. In meditation, this will be the main focus. Like Drigdrishya Viveka meditation, which is there, that has this prakriya. Let go of Namarupa in the form of thought. The witness of thought is Sakshi. Abide in the glory or Mahima of Sakshi. Purnam eva avashishyate. Last meaning was Saguna Brahma. When he takes avatar, that Brahma is also Purna. Then we saw the introduction of this Ishavasya Upanishad. Why Bhagwan is writing that Sambandha Bhasya? Because he has a very strong Purva Paksha. What is his point? Knowledge which you cannot use in transaction. That knowledge is meaningless. What was the Sanskrit statement? Today I have all the online attendees right here, so I can see all of you also with your videos on. You can say it on mute. Amnayasya kriyarthatvat anarthakyam atadarthanam. Amnayasya kriyarthatvat. The Veda mantras which are there, all of them are meant for rituals. Anarthakyam atadarthanam. If it is not meant for ritual, then it is meaningless. Any Veda mantra, if it is not meant for ritual, it is meaningless. So he says this 40th chapter of Vajasena Samhita, which you call as Ishavasya Upanishad, that also is for mantra. That also is a mantra to be used in karma. Some ritual is there in which you should chant Ishavasya Upanishad and then do that homa, not some other ritual. You don't have to study independent meaning of it. And we saw the echoes in day-to-day life, how we are so familiar that any knowledge we gain, it has to be used somewhere. Right? Even for children, when they come with different options they want to study. What is it that parents generally say? As long as you can bring food on the table, you study. And it's a matter of fact. You cannot deny it that whatever you study should be practical. You should be able to use it in something that you can sustain yourself. 96% knowledge is like this in Vedas. Every mantra is for some ritual. But Bhagwan is going to establish there is some knowledge which you cannot, need not use in transaction. Because it is knowledge about that Brahman which is beyond this world of names and forms. And it is not different from you. So there is nothing to go and get from somewhere. It is you yourself. Just know it and be free. In fact, it is letting go of those things which you are not. It is not even bringing that thing from somewhere. Brahman is not that thing which I have to get from somewhere. All we have to do is undo those things which we have erroneously taken up upon ourselves. Okay, this is the main point of this bhashya now. Let us start. Ishavasyam ityadayo mantraha. Ishavasyam ityadayo mantraha. Karmasu aviniyuktaha. Tesham akarmasheshasya atmanah yathatmya prakashakatvat yathatmyam cha atmanah shuddhatva apapaviddhatva ekatva nityatva ashariratva Sarvagatattvadi Vakshamanam. This space is okay. It is not too fast, right? You are able to see where the sandhi is splitting. Ishavasyam ityadayah mantraha. All the mantras which are going to come in this Upanishad, the 40th chapter, Ishavasya mantra, karmasu aviniyuktaha. What did Jaimini Maharshi say? Those mantras which cannot be used in karma, they are meaningless. Bhagavan Shankaracharya is establishing here, these mantras are meaningless for karma. He is saying, these mantras, they have nothing to do with karma. Karmasu aviniyuktaha means they are not useful in any karma. Tesham akarma sheshasya atmanah. Tesham means mantranam. Those mantras, they are going to reveal nature of that Atma, which is akarma shesha. Shesha here means it is not sadhana, it is not an instrument for any karma. Shesha word we have seen before. Do you remember where? Vedanta Sara. Shesha and Sheshi. When we saw the discussion of Yashti Samashti. Right? Samashti is called as Sheshi and Vyashti is called as Shesha. Part and the whole. The whole is called as Sheshi. Shesha is called as the part. So body is the whole. Then you have different body parts. So that will become Shesha. Like that he says, these mantras are Shesha of some karma. Bhagavan says no. Atma is that which is akarma Shesha. It is not part of any karma. And of such Atman, these Upanishad mantras will reveal their nature, reveal its nature as is. Yathatmya prakashakatvat. Sanskritam words, if you pay attention to the word, then meaning will open up. Yathatmya means yatha atma iti. Just as a thing is, just as the essence or nature of a thing is, in that way, this knowledge will be revealed. Akarma sheshasya atmanaha yathatmya prakashakatvat. Now there are examples given of how mantras are used in rituals. There is one ritual where they have to make some purodhasha, some kind of a offering made from cow's milk. And while milking the cow, it is said the calf has to be kept in front. And then they have some ritual by which they touch that calf. For touching that calf, you cannot touch with your hand. You have to touch with a branch of palasha tree. Palasha tree. So while you are taking out the branch of palasha tree, there is a mantra to be chanted. Ishetva, some mantra is there which has to be chanted while taking out the branch of palasha tree. Means that mantra, if you read independently, you will feel it's an independent mantra. But if you ask a Purom Imamse, they'll say, no, it's not independent, it is part of some karma. While breaking the palasha branch, you have to chant this Ishetva mantra. Like that, this Puropaksha said, Ishavasya Upanishad is also to be chanted in some ritual or in between the ritual. Only 18 mantras are there. If you want a break, you want your mind to calm down, too many things were happening in that ritual, then this is like a good intermission in between. So Bhagavan says Ishavasya Upanishad is not part of karma because it is going to reveal nature of Atma. And Atma has nothing to do with karma. What is the nature of this Atma? Now he is elaborating. Elaborating on what? Elaborating on the reason he gave in the previous statement. Right? He said Ishavasya mantras are not to be used in karma because it is revealing nature of Atma. Now, what is that Atma whose nature is being revealed in Ishavasya? Yathatmyam cha Atmanah Shuddhatva. The Yatha Swarupa, essential nature of Atma is it is ever pure, Shuddha. Apapa Vidhatva. It is free from any kind of papa, any kind of sin. Nityatva or Ekatva. It is one without a second. There are no many Atmas, there is only one Atma. Nityatva. It is eternal. Ashariratva. It doesn't have a physical body. Ashariratva and Sarvagatattvadi. It is all pervading, not localized to one place. Every indicator of Atma is for meditation. It is to remove erroneous notion about ourselves. That is what this Upanishad is going to do. Now see, we have studied Vedanta Sara and other texts also, right? What is the main teaching of Vedanta? That we are not this finite Jiva, we are that Shuddha Atma. I am that infinite consciousness, not this finite Jiva. Now think about it. Whenever I think about Aham, whenever I think about myself, do I see these qualities or do I see the opposite? Do I feel there is some impurity in me? Do I feel there is some punya papa in me? Am I going to perish one day? That is anityatva. Do I feel there are many things around, many people around, or is it one appearing as many? Do I feel I have a physical body? Or do I feel localized? If all the answer to all this question is yes, then this Ishavasya Upanishad is for us. If we already have this knowledge, have conviction, then it is said, Vijñātevi pare tattve shastradhitistu nishphala. If somebody has already owned up this knowledge, then scriptures don't have much to contribute. Now, after studying, somebody does not own up this knowledge. Then also it is said, scriptures don't have much to contribute. Avijñāte pare tattve shastradhitistu nishphala. So avijñāte pare tattva means having studied Shastra, still if we say, I am Karta Bhokta, I am Jiva, then we should study again. The purpose of scriptures have not been accomplished yet in that way. So nature of Atma, Bhagavan elaborates here. Then he says, Tacca karmana viruddhyeta iti yukta eva esham karmasu aviniyogaha. Not only is this Atma having nothing to do with karma, but actually it is opposed to karma. Tacca karmana viruddhyeta means when you say, I know Brahma Gyanam, there is no knowing plus doing. There is only knowing, there is no doing involved. Tacca karmana viruddhyeta. Viruddhyeta means it is opposed. Why do you say it is viruddhyeta? Why can't we say, or why should we not say, having studied Brahma Gyanam, how do I practice it now? You all can type also, little bit. Giving reality to unreality. And what else? I am Brahman. There is no practice. See, everything has pratijna. Pratijna means a statement. For that, you have to give reason also. This is only pratijna. Tacca karmana viruddhyeta. Of that Atma, there is virodha with karma. It is not karma janya. Good. when we say we have Brahma Gyanam or we are studying Brahma Gyanam, what this Brahma Gyanam should do first is remove Karta. Karta means the doer. That doership in us is removed. The enjoyership in us is removed. Until that happens, Brahma Gyanam has not worked. Means you have to keep working until it comes to this negation of doership. This was the point that Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi would hold on to very strongly. And that opened up many things, because what is the point in negating only the Jagat? What is the point in saying Jagat is Mithya and so on? We should come to a point where we can say this doership that I see in myself, desire to respond to the world, and this feeling that I'm experiencing the world, both of that is Mithya. Now for karma, we need Karta. To do any action, we need doer of an action. You say if doership is negated, there is no action needed also. For Brahma Gyanam, not for other things. That's why this distinction is made. For every other thing, there is knowing plus doing. But when it comes to Brahma Gyanam, it is only knowing what we are not. Whatever remains, having let go of what we are not, that is who we are. Taccha karmana viruddhyeta yukta eva esham karmasu aviniyoga. That's why it's appropriate that these mantras are not used for karma. That is why it is said, Mahavakya is not for japa. Aham brahmasmi, tattvamasi, tattvamasi. It is not for anusandhanam in that way, it is for artha anusandhanam. The meaning should be repeated through pramana buddhi, not mechanical repetition of that thing as a mantra. Mantra repetition is separate, it has its own power. But Mahavakya is to understand. Mahavakya is not for any kind of karma. You know why Bhagavan is taking so much effort, right? Because in spite of studying Vedanta for several years, we will still have this doubt. Now I have studied. How can I apply it? Now I know Vedanta. Tell me what I should do next. Knowing Vedanta means Jagat is negated and Kartrutva is negated. Then the statement of Arjuna becomes more relevant. Karishye vachanam tava. After listening to Bhagavad Gita, this is what Arjuna said. That Bhagavan, from my side, there is no more agenda. No more to-do list. Whatever you want, that I will do. One way to look at it is, whatever dharma demands, that this person will do, without any injunction being there upon him. Next portion is a beautiful portion. I'll introduce it first, then we can go into it. Now, what did Bhagavan say so far? He said Ishavasya Upanishad mantras are not for karma. Why is it not for karma? Because these mantras reveal nature of that Atma, which is of this nature. Shuddha, Apapaviddha, Eka, Nitya, Asharira, Sarvagatatva. Such Atma doesn't have anything to do with karma. Actually, it is opposed to karma, because it will negate doership. Now Bhagavan is elaborating. What are those things where you need knowing plus doing? What are those things that karma can accomplish for us, where there is not only knowing involved, there is knowing plus doing also? Okay, so he lists down few things. First thing he says, if something is produced, these are 4 P's, 4 words which start with a P. If these 4 things are there, he says only knowing is not sufficient. You need knowing plus doing also. First thing is called as you are producing it. It was not there before, you are creating new. We'll take one example which is simple enough that all words become clear to us. All the 4 P's become clear. You all must have assembled IKEA sofa sometime, right? Somebody reads instructions, all the screw, step by step, you have, assemble it. That is called as producing. Now, merely reading the manual is not sufficient. You have to read and you have to do. Okay. First one is producing. Second is, if you don't have time to produce, you can procure. Sofa is already there in the market. You just go and buy it. You say, I am not into this assembling business. I don't have time for that. I will procure. But merely knowing that there is a sofa is not sufficient. You have to go and buy it and have the resources to buy it. First one was produce. Second was procure. Third is called as purify. If something is purified, that is the third thing that karma can do. Means you already have a sofa, but it's falling apart. Something is fading away. Then what do we do? Bring a nice sofa cover, put it on top of it. Now you have not produced, you have not procured. You have just purified. Whatever was there, you adjusted a little bit so it could be used. Last P is permutate. Permutate means modify. You want to get rid of that sofa now. So you give it to somebody, they will dismantle it. Maybe they'll use that wood somewhere, cotton somewhere, and so on. The desire is there to get rid of it. So you do some action to get rid of it. Bhagavan is very careful here. He doesn't say vinasha, because he knows nothing can be destroyed absolutely. You can only permutate it. From one thing, you can make it into another. You destroy sofa, it will become some other furniture. Wood can be used, cotton can be used, but nothing can be destroyed. How many were there? 4. First one was produce, permutate. First one was produce, second was procure, third is purify, fourth one is permutate. The Sanskrit words for all 4 of them. Producing means utpadyam. If you have produced it, means utpadyam, that thing has been created new. Procuring is called as apyam. You are getting it from somewhere. You are not producing it, just bringing it from outside. Purifying is called as samskaryam. Samskaryam. Thing is already there, but undergoing some kind of impurity. To make it fit to be used again, you do some kind of samskara. And the last one is permutate, which is called as vikaryam. Means you are changing it from one form to another form. So Bhagavan says, whatever we are seeking in life, other than Brahma, will fall under one of these 4 categories. And because those categories are attained due to karma, so there is not only knowing which is involved, there is knowing plus doing. Think about it. Whatever pursuits we have had, education. If I want to study engineering, which category will it fall under? Not apyam, it is utpadyam. I cannot buy this knowledge. I have to create this knowledge. Not samskaryam, because it's not there with me right now. What is not there, it cannot undergo any modification also. Not vikaryam. If it is utpadyam, he says knowing alone is not sufficient. Knowing plus doing. So anything that we take of this world will be one of these 4. Now, it is not only true with objects, it is also true in sadhana. While we start this spiritual journey, we don't start with this understanding that I am Brahman. And we should not also. The first part of teaching is Sadhana Chatustaya. Now, Sadhana Chatustaya is for Brahma or is it for Karta Bhokta? One or two. Is it for Brahma or is it for Karta Bhokta? Good. It is for Karta Bhokta only. So if Karta Bhokta is there inside, then I have to do Utpatti, Utpadyam of Sadguna. Whatever is not there, that I have to bring from outside. Means learn from others. Apyam has to be done. Whatever is already there, some good habits might be there in terms of sadhana. Of that, I have to constantly purify. Samskaryam has to be done. And those things which I don't want in myself, that I should remove. Vikaryam, that also has to be done. You want to note down the Sanskrit word for these terms. One is called as Guna Adhana. Guna Adhana means those good qualities I should own up, I should bring. Guna Adhana, Dosha Apanayana. Whatever shortcomings I see in myself, which is not in line with life of a sadhaka, those doshas I should remove. Dosha Apanayana. And Hinanga Purti. Hinanga Purti. Whatever things are having limitations, means they're good things, but I have not perfected them yet. Bhagavan said in 4th chapter, we should be Yatayaha Samshita Vrataha. Means if you take up some vow of chanting, it should not be some moody chanting, that one day we chant, 5 days we don't chant. Then again, 7th day we remember, then we start chanting. He said, no, become Samshita Vrataha. Strive for perfection in that particular sadhana. That is this Samskaryam or Hinanga Purti. What were the 3 terms? Guna Adhana, Dosha Apanayana, and Hinanga Purti. Now this is for whom? One who is Karta Bhokta. So Bhagavan says, it is not that I am refuting karma without understanding what is karma. Wherever this criticism is done of karma, there we should remember this point. They're not naive about the greatness of karma. It is not that they don't appreciate what is the role of karma in Vyavahara. They say in spite of its power being so much in Vyavahara, there could be few seekers who are not seeking something in Vyavahara. They are called as Mumukshu. For them is this Upanishad. And if they have lived their life well, Bhagavan says, I will take care of everything in Vyavahara. Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham is in Vyavahara only. And these are those sadhakas who have already done that. Lived their life well, now they are seeking, or Bhagavan has blessed them with something, where they are seeking something which is beyond this Vyavahara. So much so that if you connect Vedanta with Vyavahara, they feel little disappointed. True seeker of Vedanta, if they have analyzed the world and they are seeking something beyond this world, if you connect Vedanta with Vyavahara, Shuddha Chaitanya with Vyavahara, they feel there is some mixing going on here. Because Vyavahara has its own perspectives, which is in plenty in our scriptures. You read Vibhishana Gita, Ramcharitmanas, every single point in that Vibhishan Gita is for Vyavahara only. Third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, so much Vyavaharik points Bhagavan gives. Mukta Sangha Samachara. But when it comes to knowledge of Brahman, it is said, understand it the way it is. Okay, so this was the introduction now. Now let us see what is Bhagavan trying to say here. Nahi evam lakshanam atmanah, nahi evam lakshanam atmanah, yathatmyam utpadyam vikaryam apyam samskaryam kartru bhoktru rupam va yena karmasheshata syat. This is how we'll try to look at Bhashya. I'll introduce that portion and then you'll see that same portion here. Whatever we discussed before is the same two lines. Nahi evam lakshanam atmanah. Atma, which is of this nature, Shuddhatva, etc. Yathatmyam, the knowledge of this Atma as it is, Yathatmyam. It is not any of these things. Nature of Atma, only knowing is sufficient because it is not any of these things. What are those things? Utpadyam, produced. Vikaryam, Bhagavan is given in different order. The fourth one is given next. Permutated, modified. It is not that. Atma is something which doesn't undergo modification. Apyam, it is ever present. You don't have to bring it from anywhere. Samskaryam, ever pure. You don't have to purify it. Kartru bhoktu rupam va. If it is any of these things, if it is Karta Bhokta or it is Utpadyam, Apyam, Vikaryam, Samskaryam, then you need karma. He says Atma is not any of these for which you are needing this karma. Yena karma sheshata syat. Now he says all Upanishads are there to establish this point only. 96% of Vedas might be karma kanda, but their essential teaching is not in doing karma. Essential teaching is in nature of Brahma. Meaning Bhagavan is saying this point, whichever we are discussing over here, it's not my own opinion. This is what Upanishads are saying. Even Bhagavad Gita is saying the same thing. Sarvasam Upanishadam Atma Yathatmya Nirupanena Eva Upakshayat. Upakshayat means culmination of all Upanishads. Sarvasam Upanishadam. Where do they culminate? Atma Yathatmya Nirupanena. They culminate in this knowledge of the self, which is not part of any karma. We don't have to look for anything else after this Brahma Gyanam has come. Gitanam Moksha Dharmanam cha evam paratvat. Of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and all other Smriti Granthas. This is the same essence. These sentences, everything is very deep and beautiful also. It shows us what is Bhagavan's heart, what is his thinking. Now, if you ask different people, what is the essence of Bhagavad Gita? We'll get different answers. Somebody says Bhagavad Gita is of meditation. Somebody says Bhagavad Gita is about karma. Do karma yoga. Do your action, don't be attached. That is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan Shankaracharya says no. That is a sadhana with which one has to prepare for moksha purushartha. That is not the injunction of Bhagavad Gita. It is the practice by which we can live a beautiful life here. At the same time, seek something which is beyond this world. It is just like if there is a child who has to do his homework and he wants to go and play outside with his friends. Now he comes and keeps bothering his mom. Mom, can I go out to play? Mom, can I go out to play? Now this mother sees it, so long he has been asking, and she says, okay, go and play. Now what is the tatparya of that statement? Go and play. It is really in saying, go and play now, but come back and do your homework. Her essence, although she said, go and play, the essence is not in playing. Essence is in right now, you are not in a position to do your homework. Go and play first. But don't stay there. Come back and do your homework. Like that is this balance of karma and jnanam. Whenever it is said, one should do karma yoga, it is not an injunction. Whenever it is said one should do karma, it is not an injunction. That karma slowly becomes karma yoga. That karma yoga brings a pure mind. Vasana pressure goes down. Then this jnana part starts appealing to us. That is our true progress on the spiritual path. How much are we able to appreciate Vedanta? How much is Vedanta speaking to us? If Vedanta is telling us right now, world cannot be goal of life. Even if right now world is my goal of life, am I able to appreciate that other perspective or not? If I'm able to appreciate, then this knowledge is opening up more. We are walking more further on this spiritual journey. Gītānām moksha dharmānām cha evam paratvat. Tasmat atmanah anekatva kartrutva bhoktuttvadi cha ashuddhatva papaviddhatva cha upadaya lokabuddhi siddham karmani vihitani. Lead and repeat is better for you? Or are you able to split if I read directly? Okay, we'll do lead and repeat also. That way it's easier. Tasmad atmanah anekatva kartrutva bhoktruttvadi cha ashuddhatva papaviddhatvadi cha upadaya lokabuddhi siddham karmani vihitani yo hi karma phalena arthi drishtena brahma varchasadina adrishtena swargadina cha dvijatiraham na kana kubjatvadi anadhikara prayojaka dharmavan iti atmanam manyate saha adhikriyate karmasu iti hi adhikara vido vadanti. The purpose of reading Bhashya word by word is, it will create anchors for our thought. Even if we are unable to understand every word, we are unable to understand which vibhakti is there, which kriyapada is there, which form it is still okay. Remember in Kenopanishad, we would make this slide, and every slide would have a portion of Bhashya. It would have a title on the top. On the left side, it would have some points. That is what we are trying to do here. Appreciate what is the main theme of this part of Bhashya and what are the key points in that portion. If you skip it, then many details will be lost. If you are feeling overwhelmed with Sanskrit, there is no need to be overwhelmed because whatever we are discussing is in English only. right? It's just the points have to come from here. That's why we are reading it. Okay. Now Bhagavan is telling, for whom is this injunction of karma? He said that person, tasmad atmanah anekatva, one who takes Atma to be many, one who has superimposed doership, kartrutva, bhoktatvadi, enjoyership, and has this impurity superimposed on him. Cha ashuddhatvadi, papa viddhatvadi, things that I have committed some mistake. Upadaya, only having accepted these things. Now, how did you come up with all these ideas that you are Karta, you are Bhokta, you are having impurity? Did you do some vichar and then conclude? Bhagavan says, no, it is Loka Buddhi Siddham. Because everybody says so, that is why I also think I am this way. A child doesn't express this bhava as much of ahankara, karta, bhokta. Have you seen children talking to others by referring themselves in third person? Others say that this is so and so. That child also feels this is some other person. But slowly, Loka Buddhi Siddham happens. They say, this is your food, this is your brother's food. This is your shoes, that is somebody else's shoes. For Vyavahara, it is okay. But in understanding, we assume ourselves to be this individual, not because we have thought about it sufficiently and then arrived at this conclusion. Because of lack of thinking, Bhagavan says we are taking ourselves to be Karta and Bhokta. So somebody who thinks himself to be this way, the initial portion is not in directly removing that Kartrutva. Initial portion is injunction of karma, by which this Kartrutva can be beautified. Bhoktrutva can be changed into Prasada Buddhi. All of that is still finitude. Thinking myself to be Karana of the Lord. Having Prasada Buddhi. That is also as Karta and Bhokta. But it is made in such a way that our Vyavahara will be very, very beautiful. Means before coming to Vedanta, I will not have much concerns in Vyavahara. This is where Bhagavan again and again says in Bhagavad Gita, understand me in my Saguna form, that will make the sadhaka come to Nirguna form. Means in Saguna form, he is Karma Phaladata, he is Dayalu, Krupalu. In the shelter of such Bhagavan, the sadhaka feels secure. When he does actions, he does remembering the Lord. But Kartrutva is still there. That cannot be negated. Bhoktutva is also there. But he is okay with whatever he gets. Prasada Buddhi accomplished that for him. Now that same sadhaka is studying Vedanta. And it is important to appreciate the distinction between both. In one case, we are trying to beautify Kartrutva Bhoktutva. If that is accomplished, then Vedanta comes and says that beautiful mind we have to negate through this knowledge. For that person only who has this notion of Karta and Bhokta, karma injunction is given. It is not the Tatparya. Because it is said, do karma. Vedas don't want us to be only at karma level. Do it in such a way that we can go to the next step. No stagnation at any point. Now, who is this person who will have injunction for karma? Bhagavan elaborates more. He says, Yohi karma phalena arthi. Arthi means one who desires. What does he desire? Karma phala. He desires karma phala. What type of karma phalas can we desire? Bhagavan says only two types. Either it is drushta or it is adrushta. Yohi karma phalena arthi drushtena brahmavarcha sadhina. What is drushta phala? That which is immediate, which I can see for myself. Here he puts the topmost drushta phala. What is the topmost drushta phala? He says brahmavarchas. Lot of tejas, ability to understand Shastra. It's an important point here. He says this ability will come through karma, sadhana, and upasana. Another point again and again to note is Bhagavan is not blindly criticizing karma. He says one who has done it, one who has gained the results, for that person karma is of no good. But in Brahma Varchas, you can add everything else. Power, position, some kind of accomplishment in the world. All of them are Drushta Phala. And what is Adrushta Phala? Adrushta Phala means having this thought that, okay, here everything is good for me. But I know one day I have to let go of this physical body. May things be good for me hereafter also. That is called as Adrushta Phala. Or in other words, Swarga. Adrushtena Swargadina cha Dvijati Raham. If I have these desires, then I have to do some karmas. And those karmas will seek certain qualifications. So one is Varnashrama Dharma. There will be some karmas which are specifically meant for certain Varna. Then there will be some kind of restrictions on who can do those karmas. So the one who is fitting all the criteria, that person is fit for karma. Karnatva, Karnakubjatvadi, Anadhikara, Prayojaka, Dharmavan. I mean, there is no shortcoming anywhere in his whole personality, because of which he is unable to do that karma. Sometimes in military, when people go to seek admission, they ask for height and weight. If it is below certain thing, they say you cannot enter. This is traditional way of looking at it. In modern day also you have the same thing. Every job will have a specific requirement. They will demand certain things. Now the one who is fitting all of that, Bhagavan says that person is fit for karma. Saha adhikriyate karma suiti adhikara vidaha vadanti. Means you should put it the other way also. If somebody is not seeking something of this world, somebody is not seeking something hereafter, that person is not adhikari of karma. See again, karma don't just limit it to the work that we do. Karma here refers to doing something with desire prompted, with desire in the heart. Means if somebody does a ritual with this bhavana of going to Swargaloka, he says the one who doesn't have that desire, he need not do that ritual. In that way it is pointed out here. Nitya karma, it will be done no matter what. But here specific karmas are referred to as desire prompted actions. That this person need not do. He is not an adhikari for karma. The two extremes which are there, they are very clear. Jnani, does he need to do karma? We say no, Jnani has risen above everything, he need not do karma. The person who has strong desires, he wants drushta phala, he wants adrushta phala also. Now if it is there, it is there. We cannot say no if it is if that desire is there inside. If desire is there and we drop karma outside, what does Bhagwan call that person? Mithyachara. Third chapter, he calls that person a hypocrite. If there is desire and I'm not willing to put forth effort for fulfilling that desire, he says, don't do that. So for a person who has desire, karma has to be done. That part is clear. Question is, what about mumukshu? Mumukshu is somebody who is seeking the higher. But at the same time, Sadhana Chatustaya is not 100% there. What should happen for a mumukshu? I will leave it open. You all can think. What is the role of karma for a mumukshu? For a jnani, we know there is no point. For an ajnani who is totally into world, karma is the only way out. But what is the relevance of karma for a mumukshu? Think about it in different ways. Then we can discuss. Okay. Little bit more is there of Sambandha Bhasya. Then we'll enter into the Upanishad mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. If you have any questions, you can turn it into the online form. Then last few minutes, I'll take it up here. So whatever word was not clear, like yesterday, last session, I realized I didn't clarify the meaning of the word adaya. Adaya, da dhatu means to give. Adaya means to keep. So purnasya purnam adaya. Keep the Brahma part, let go of the Upadhi part, and so on. Okay. Hari Om.